I'm Brittany Rizzo, and welcome back to My Only Friends. I know I say this a lot, but this episode really was one of my favorites. Today we have comedian, writer, podcast host, and cook Mike Glazer. From earning a gold medal with Team USA as a roller hockey goalie, performing alongside Dave Chappelle, to cooking alongside Gordon Ramsay, Mike Glazer has a multitude of talents, wild stories, and anecdotes to share. This episode reminds me of the Friends episode, the one with the cooking class. Mike and I talk a lot about food in this episode, from cooking to eating to how it triggers my OCD and how it's therapeutic for him. Mike was vulnerable, hilarious, kind, and genuine, and I just want to thank him again publicly for his time and how thoughtful he was during this interview. Mike is currently on tour with new material and will be performing at Netflix Is a Joke Presents Mike Glazer on May 9th. I highly recommend catching his show and watching his stand-up special, Life Rules, available on YouTube. Please enjoy my conversation with Mike Glazer.
I love it. Let's do that.
How are you?
I'm so stoked. I'm in Minneapolis for the first time.
Oh, really? What are you doing there?
We're doing our stand-up tour. We're on tour for another week and a half, and today's our last day in Minneapolis, and then we head to Vancouver.
Oh, that's amazing. How's the tour going?
I mean, we're selling out. People are having fun. Nothing's better.
That's amazing. That's really exciting. And I just watched Life Rules, so I could imagine that it's been a great time.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing, I mean, that shit's dead. I recorded that a year ago. I recorded that special a year ago, so I'm doing like all new material on the road. When I get back to LA, all new material. I put that stuff to bed, which feels so good.
When do you come back to LA?
April 24th.
Amazing. Well, I'll have to come see. I would love to come see it. That'd be so fun.
Are you in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah, let's be friends. Let's hang out.
Yes,
That'd be
let's
great.
do it. Well, right off the bat, I was like, right before I got on here, of course, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were seen all over Coachella. So that's all the videos I was watching. And then I was like, your video and having Travis Kelce like it, I was like, oh my God, that's like the coolest thing ever.
I know. And now all I got to do is meet him and we'll be friends because I'll have like that in to be like, what up, Trav? You know?
Yeah. Will you tell everybody, for people who haven't seen the video, like what your experience was? Because you went and saw the Eras tour in theaters.
Yeah, accidentally, but it was the best choice I've ever made. I took mushrooms to go see the movies. And as an AMC A-lister, I just see whatever is playing next. And while I was tripping, it turned out the only thing playing next was The Exorcist, and that was a pretty bad choice. I shouldn't have done that. And so after The Exorcist and tripping pretty hard and thinking about all my family trauma, I just snuck into something else to cleanse the palate. And it turned out that it was Taylor Swift's Eras movie, and it was just me and a bunch of people, and we just danced for like 2.5 hours in the bottom of the pit of the theater, and I've never felt better in my life. And yeah, and the end of the joke is like, everybody Barbenheimer, for sure. Barbenheimer, see Barbie, see Oppenheimer, support movies. But if you ever have a chance to Exor Swift, it is a dream come true. Like that's where life is.
That's so funny. I could imagine my dreams that night would be incredibly fucked up. Like if I saw The Exorcist and then Taylor Swift Eras tour, like I would be having the weirdest dreams of my life.
For sure. For sure. Wait, I have two questions for you. One is,
Yes.
do you like scary movies?
Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. I saw The Exorcist when I was little, and I think I slept in my parents' bed for like 2 weeks after that. And like, The Sixth Sense ruined my life completely. Like, I am such a baby. It's like, I won't even watch, like, there's a scary episode of Boy Meets World where they like do scream, kind of. Terrifies me. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. My second question is, do you dream a lot? Do you have pretty like vivid dreams?
Yes, I remember every dream every night, and it is so strange. And I Google them when I wake up too, like because I remember them, and I'm like, what does this mean? And then of course they all say the same thing, but it's like,
what, you're like a psycho killer?
Yeah, you were a murderer in your past life. It's like there's a lot about like being vulnerable and letting go of control. Like I always have to have control over things or being stressed about changing, like changes in life. Like I'm not good with change. But even like, did you see Poor Things?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that night after I loved that movie, but that night I had dreams that my dog Lila had my head all night long. And it was so weird. But I'm like, if I watch it, I will have a dream about it. So that's why I can't watch anything like violent or scary because I will just continue to dream about it at night.
Totally. I talk about it in my special Life Rules, but Peter Tuesdays at Noon is my therapist,
Hmm.
and he is deep into dream therapy. And so I
Mm.
have like my little notebook here, Peter Tuesdays at Noon, and I write down all my dreams I remember for when we have therapy because there's a lot in there. There's a lot our subconscious is working through at all times. It's pretty cool.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that you do that. I didn't know that you did that. And here we are just talking about our dreams.
Exactly. Because what he said was like our dreams are our best way to tell like who we are and what we're working on and how we feel because it's like our defenses are down because our body is resting and restoring. So our subconscious can pull like deep memories and future anxieties and present thoughts and like kind of put them all into a mishmash of whatever our dream is. And all of those components can be represented in there. And so in therapy, we can really like drill down into what we're working on and where our feelings are coming from to, unpack things a bit easier.
That's wild. I know it's weird. Like, I mean, as dark as my brain gets, like I've been having a lot of dreams about getting shot or I'm like, I'm pregnant and I don't want this baby. So awful.
Oh wow. Well, how much of that has to do with like the beauty of our country right now?
Well,
Because dear
yeah,
God.
that too. Exactly. I'm like, well, that's just from going to the grocery store or watching the news. That gives you nightmares. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's wild. So
Oh wow.
I feel like we have so much to talk about. And gosh, I'm like, I don't even know where to start, but I want to start with just like the basic of like how you got into comedy. Like, what was the moment? Like, were you watching somebody else do stand up or were you watching a movie? Or, in Life Rules, you talk about like growing up, you had to be funny for the family. So what was the moment you were like, I'm going to pursue doing stand up and being a comedian?
I don't know the answer about stand up, but I do know I haven't even told this story or thought about this. I don't know what you're doing to me. You're like tapping into the old like deep gray crevices. This is great. I remember the first time I made a stranger laugh. I was a little kid and I definitely had a crush on my babysitter, an absolute one of those like tropey things where I was like, there's a stranger and she's a woman and she's in my house. I want to impress her. And so
Mhm.
I kept running on my living room floor. It was like a wood floor. And then I would slip on the carpet and fall down. Like I would just do a fall. Like I would run and be like, what? And I would just fall. And she would keep cracking up. And she's like, what are you doing? And I just kept falling over and over and over to make her laugh. And I think that like making a woman I had a crush on who was my babysitter, which, how deep into X videos do we want to get? But at the time, it was like it was an important seminal moment in my life. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget just falling on my ass over and over and over to making someone laugh.
Mm, I love that. That's funny. I know. What is that? Even like, I mean, I didn't have a crush on my babysitter, but my babysitter growing up, I was like, I want to be just like her. She's the coolest person in the world. Like, what is that about babysitters? We just think they're wow, so much older and wiser and cooler.
She is. I was like, because I wasn't allowed to cuss or anything,
Mm.
and so I remember I begged her, and she taught me the word. I hope we can bleep it. She taught me the word mofo.
Oh, oh, oh. She was bad.
She was real bad.
I want to say, like, my babysitter growing up, she would do this thing. I haven't thought about this in so long. she was like, "Oh, it's a magical unicorn." It was like when those stuffed animals had like a pouch inside of them because they would have baby unicorns or something. She'd be like, "Yeah, put your jewelry
Mhm.
out and like it'll disappear." And I'm like, now I look back, I'm like, she was just straight up stealing our jewelry. Like, damn. We thought it was like the coolest
Damn.
magic trick ever. And I was like, wow, she definitely stole our jewelry from us.
1,000,000%. That is gone.
That is hilarious. Where are you from originally?
I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri,
St. Louis. What brought you out to LA?
leaving as far away from St. Louis as possible. Um, you know what I mean? I just never felt like I belonged there. My whole
Yeah.
life was like, how do I leave here? And I still have friends in St. Louis. Shout out Kenny Sussman, shout out Mark Hirsch. But like, as far as a place and an energy and a vibe, it ain't it. It ain't it for me. I never really felt like. I feel like LA is kind of my first home. Like,
Mm.
I moved to Chicago after I graduated from college, and Chicago was fun, but it was just mostly partying and working for Second City and be like learning how to be funny. But I never felt like I was supposed to stay there. And LA finally feels like a home. Like, I feel like I belong. I have great friends. I have a great girlfriend. Like, life is good. And so I'm really happy there. I've just like I've never felt more comfortable in my own skin until I moved to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the story of a lot of us transplants is like we leave our hometown and we kind of just like don't feel like we belong there or have anything to relate to there. And then you come to LA and you're like, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only person who thinks this way. Like I
Yeah,
belong. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Like, I remember last time I visited St. Louis, one of the last times, it was for Christmas, and we just went to the gun range on Christmas Eve because it was open. And I'm like, man, I just can't with this. I
Yeah.
can't. Like, this isn't how I want to spend Santa's day, is like shooting guns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That would give me fucked up
Yeah.
dreams for sure if I did that on Christmas.
Right? Like, it was, I mean, family bonding and all, sure, great. But also, like, this is the wrong vibe for me. I want to be like singing carols at somebody's front door and petting dogs, not shooting machine guns at
Yeah.
shadows. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you move out to LA and you start because you have so many things that you've done. So I'm like trying to think of this timeline because I'm like, you've won a gold medal, you've
Mhm.
written for shows, you went to culinary school. So like, what is the timeline of all of this?
Like, what the fuck are you doing,
I'm
dude?
like, where do you have the time? But then I also look back and I'm like, wait, like you look back in the past like decade of your life and you go, wait, I did all that shit in all that time? Like I don't even remember it. And like when was that?
Yeah. Well, like, I want to answer it, but I would love to because we don't know each other, and I know you get sent like all these things about me. Can you tell me about yourself a bit? Like,
Oh my
what
gosh,
happened
you're
in the
so
last
sweet.
decade for you?
Well, I moved from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. Like I graduated high school early, went to cosmetology school, and then right when I got a job out of cosmetology school, I was only like 18 or 19, and I booked a job acting. Like I was signed up through Central Casting for like extra work, but then they bumped me up from an extra to like a recurring co-star on a Disney Channel show, and then I moved out to LA.
Whoa.
So it was kind of like the most amazing thing, but I wasn't living in LA at the time. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And I just was like, okay, I guess I'm moving to LA to be an actor. And then of course, like didn't work for like another year or so. Cause I was like, but it's all so easy. They just called me and I just showed up and it was great. Like, but so that, yeah. And then like in the past 10 years, like I booked a national commercial. So I moved into this apartment. It'll be 11 years. It was 11 years last month that I've lived in this apartment. Um, it's been like so up and down. Like I took a break from acting because I had a lot of health stuff go on, which is what led me to like start this podcast with just like a complete mental breakdown and needing to seek therapy and like also wanting to like talk about it with other people and like what has helped them through their hardest times and stuff like that. So that's like the Cliff's Notes version of the past decade of my
Wow.
life.
Wow, that's a wild thing. Isn't it wild how like I find in Los Angeles specifically, like one thing will hook you that makes you move there. Like for
Hmm.
me, it was being on Food Network's Worst Cooks in America. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm a reality TV star. That is
Right.
my lot in life, right? And
Right.
then like I do Food Network Worst Cooks, and then they're like, all right, see ya. And I was like, wait, don't you want me to host your next show? Like, aren't
Exactly.
you enthralled with me, right? And then you just
Exactly.
kind
I
of
was
like,
like,
okay,
wait, I'm not getting my own Disney Channel show now? Like, are you guys stupid? What are you
yeah.
doing? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm here, so just call me because
Hmm.
probably just got take a week, figure it out, and
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's so yeah, kind of a similar thing. Like I moved out to LA after Worst Cooks in America because I was like, oh, like even though that was filmed in New York, I knew I wanted to live in Los Angeles because my dream was to write monologue jokes for a late night TV show, like a Conan or a Seth Meyers. Like all I wanted to do was write late night monologue jokes, just tight little perfect topical comedy.
Mm.
And I got to do it in a circuitous way. I got jokes on TV, and it was a dream come true. And now late night is dead. So what am I gonna do with that dream? That dream is gone.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, you know?
So talk about worst cooks in America because that led you to go to culinary school and now you're an incredible cook.
I'll cook some chicken parm for you and you let me know if I'm incredible or not. Because I just made chicken parm for my girlfriend and the chicken parm was great. It was crispy, it was brown, the chicken was juicy. We melted some mozzarella on top, but I messed up that sauce hard. And
Mm,
she's Italian and she calls it gravy. That's how serious she is about tomato
mm,
sauce.
hmm.
And I'm like, oof, oof, I botched that. So I still feel like I have my worst cook's gene inside me. And every so often, it comes out like a superpower and I just ruin the kitchen. But I'm doing
That's
my best because I can cook pretty well. Um, but sometimes the worst cook in me comes out like a evil villain on like Magneto or something.
that's really funny. And you know what? I would say, well, one, I'm Italian too, but I'm like the worst Italian ever. Like you can open a jar of sauce and I'll like it. Like I like Olive Garden and it's a disgrace to my family that I'm like, I don't hate Olive Garden. I don't care. But
Right.
like I'm the worst Italian ever. And I also cut my spaghetti, which my grandparents are like, that's a sin. So
That is a sin. Even I know that. No,
it's
what
just
are
too
you
long.
doing?
It's too long and so much work, so much doing. I'm all about convenience, you know? But
I appreciate the efficiency. But
I'm
yeah, so I went to culinary and it was, I took the money I won on Worst Cooks in America. I should have won that show. And Burrell let me back in the kitchen because you should have picked me. I would have won the finals. You shouldn't have picked Jamie. Am I bitter about it? Yeah, of course. I want to win. But whatever. So I took the money from that, went to culinary school, fell in love with it, and then I got hired to cook behind the scenes as an improviser and kind of a glorified line cook on Gordon Ramsay's The F Word. And because that show was shot live to tape, we had to do tons of rehearsals, and we had to like I would play. Let's say on The F Word, it was a team of cheerleaders from South Carolina cooking filet mignons against a preacher family from Alabama who's making shrimp etouffee. So I would have to play a South Carolina cheerleader cooking steaks all day long
oh
and
my God.
talking with Gordon Ramsay. And he's like, Sabrina, what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, darling, I'm just in the kitchen here. And that was like my whole job was to pretend to be other people and be a line cook. And Gordon Ramsay at the end of it goes, you're a really good line cook. You could do this. And that's all I've ever wanted in my life is for Gordon Ramsay to tell me I'm enough. So
Oh my
what
gosh.
a life,
Yeah.
right?
And also, I mean, I've talked about this before on here. It's like all it takes is that one person to tell you that you're good at something. And it's like same thing. You're like, okay, well, that's what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. Like it
Hmm.
reminds me of, I don't know if you watch Friends, that's all I care about is the TV show Friends. But Chandler tells Monica, like, oh my God, this is great. You should be a cook. And she's like, okay. And then spends the rest of her life like becoming a cook.
Wow, I had no idea. That's awesome.
It's
That's awesome.
It's funny
See,
because oh, go ahead.
no, 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 please.
I was gonna say like when I cook, I feel like Dexter, which is why I don't cook. Like I truly, and we'll talk about this too because like you talk about how you recently, I don't, well no, that special was older. So you were diagnosed with bipolar. And
Hmm.
I recently have been going through with my therapist a diagnosis of OCD. And so when it comes to food is when it's the absolute worst. And with cooking food, I genuinely, like you talk about, you had to be somebody else. I believe I am Dexter. I'm like, I have, if I cook chicken, I'm so convinced that I'm going to get sick from it if it's not so like insanely overcooked. And then when I prepare chicken, I have a whole like tarp laid out. I have to put gloves on and a mask.
Hmm.
I'm playing Taylor Swift and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm cutting up a dead body. I'm a murderer. Like this is a dead body in my kitchen and I'm cutting it up and cooking it. Like I can't stop thinking about it. So I just have to like, and same with eating. Like if I eat, my grandma's like, why do you always FaceTime us when you're eating? I'm like, because if I'm not doing something while I eat, I will not stop thinking about what I'm eating the whole time. It is insane. So when you
Yeah.
talk about where I'm sure cooking for you probably quiets your brain a little bit, like you have something to focus on and it's therapeutic for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting to learn because like you even make me think of like how we can't see salmonella. So it could genuinely be like in
Hmm.
the air around you as you're making this like supposedly healthy meal for yourself. Like
Hmm.
what a tricky mind fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It all grosses me out so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're so right. Excuse me. For me, it is like the most calming, soothing. Like my favorite part of all of it is honestly to do the dishes
I
because
love
it's
doing
finally I finally
dishes.
aren't dishes nice? Ooh, I love like resetting everything so that it's perfect again. Like it's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is for me is like maybe we're both a bit of a control freak and we try and even control the things we can't control.
Hmm.
And so in food, I'm tasting the food, I'm adjusting the salt, I'm reducing, I'm creating, and I have about as much control over it as any human can over anything.
Mm.
Um, and that to me gives me such calm stillness because I'm like, I know how I'm gonna check the temperature on this pork chop. Oh my gosh, it's 160 degrees. I'm gonna pull it off, let it rest for 15 minutes. Like it's all up to me. It's all on my shoulders, but it's on my shoulders in a way that also there's a reward at the end of the journey. And then at the end of that journey, I can reset everything to perfection as if it never even existed. And there's something so pure and humane about that that allows me to like forget all my problems. It's so important to me to be able to cook and have that time.
I love that. And I wish I was like that so bad.
Yeah. So to relate a little bit with you when I don't your OCD sounds very different than my I have a friend who is like he's a stand-up comic so he doesn't mind me sharing his joke
Mhm.
but he's like some people are like oh my god I'm so OCD and it's because they need like the piece of paper to fit perfectly in the corner of the desk and
Yeah.
he's like no 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 that's not OCD that's aesthetic.
Hmm.
I can't turn the doorknob enough until I'm on the floor in the fetal position crying. Like we are not the same.
Hmm.
And so it sounds like you and he have a bit more similarities between each other where it's like those loops are
Yeah.
just looping. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I wrote this down to ask you as well because, this has been very recent of like, I mean, and again on this podcast, like I had a full panic attack over an area rug. Like if something is wrong or like doesn't seem right to me, like I'll lose sleep over it. I lost sleep over the fact that this area rug was like, I don't know if I like it and it doesn't look good here. And like I won't sleep. I will not stop thinking about it until I figure out what I'm going to do with it. Like it's these obsessive thoughts of like needing to know, like the reassurance of needing to
Yeah.
know. And it's, there's a bunch of little things that I was realizing that I was doing like whenever I leave my dogs are in Las Vegas with my parents, and whenever I leave them, I have to hold both of their paws at the same time, squeeze them 3 times, and then let them go at the same time. And if I don't let them go at the same time, I'm
Hmm.
convinced something bad's going to happen, and I'm like, I have to do it again. It's
Yep.
and like you're thinking, like, I've always just been like, oh, this is just like a quirk. This is just something that I do. Like, it's a superstition. And my therapist was like, no, that's OCD, Brittany. And I was like, oh, okay. And when I started realizing these things and going through all the things I've done since childhood, of like, oh, this is not just like a thing I do, this is an actual disorder. I had a moment where I felt very comforted that I wasn't alone. But then I also had this moment of like feeling so sad for little Brittany, of like, she really just didn't know what was going on in her brain for so long, up until now at 33. So I wanted to ask you, and she had asked me, like, how have you been feeling since we've been talking about this? And when you got diagnosed with bipolar and depression, like,
Hmm.
what were your feelings when you got that quote unquote answer?
Anger, regret, resentment, loss of time,
Mm,
embarrassment and shame about past actions that I couldn't put a pin on why I was doing and who I was at the time, and how self-sabotaging I was, and wanting to reach out to every single person in my life to apologize for every micro thing that I feel like I could have been doing wrong, that I had no idea was socially unacceptable, or I was out of my mind, or I was too sad to be a good friend. And just deep shame and embarrassment at you know at my past. And then and then and almost like frozen inability to move forward,
mm,
because I was like, oh my god, like that's like, if that's the end of like my book one on who I am, I don't even want to start book two, because I'm so scared to take a step into this identity. And like, do I wear it on my sleeve? Do I talk about it all the time? Do I keep it a secret? Like, how do I live life now?
mm,
Because I've struggled for so long, and it's been so brutal. I've thought about killing myself a million times in a million different ways. How close can one dude get before he actually does it? And so there was a frozenness too when I found out, where I was like, okay, am I going to be on pills for the rest of my life? What is that going to do to me? Am I going to be a zombie? Am I going to, like, I told my parents about it, and they didn't really ask me anything more. They just asked me if they did something wrong. And I was like,
oh,
this isn't about you. Like, good
mm,
God. I'm actively like putting my hand out looking for olive branches, and everyone around me is like making it about themselves.
yeah.
So in a weird way, it was it was pretty brutal to learn. It didn't justify it. It helped me understand a lot of my past, and it's been really interesting to feel more like myself than ever before. But it's taken a lot of work, because I've done a lot of damage to myself and others that I'm not proud of.
Mm, yeah. I mean, I relate.
Yeah,
It's I get it. I get it. And it's you almost get to this level too where you're so self-aware. You're like, I just want it all to stop. I just want to like
yeah,
breathe. I just want to breathe and be, and I can't because I'm thinking about all of this so much. And I'm I'm sorry that you went through that, but I'm also very happy that you're in this space now, to like know it feels really good to be in your skin. And it is hard to, when we get in those like episodes per se of like the depression or a manic episode or obsession loop, it's you lose sight of how far you've come, because somehow you're right
hmm,
back where you were, whether it was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you're like, I did all this work and it's for nothing, and here I am again, and like I haven't changed at all. And then it's those moments where you have to just kind of go, hold on, like, look how far I've come and look where I am now, and like ground yourself in reality. But I could, I, I definitely empathize with your journey and like what you've been through and those feelings also of like time lost. But now it's like, well, we have now, which is cliche as that sounds. It's like we have now. So how lucky are we?
Yeah, yeah. It's another one of those like, you know, if I'm present enough to think about how far we've come, then great. Like
Hmm.
still a long ways to go. Um, but I also remember a moment, to be very transparent with you, when I would almost like want a manic episode to come on, almost like if I can will it through, lack of exercise, excessive drinking, excessive stress, like if I can just like kind of stress myself out enough to like snap a bit, then I have an excuse to be this like id. I have carte blanche to be like the most wild
Mm-hmm.
type of self I am, and then I can be like, sorry everyone, ooh, what happened, and I was like, no, 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 dude, like you remember what happened when that would just happen to you, and then you're walking the streets of Chicago at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, down the middle of the street yelling and being a fucking maniac. Like this is not this is not good. You give yourself permission to have like a balanced life. Don't give yourself permission to be like this chaos monster. Like what you're looking for is like balance, and that is so important. And I'm so happy. I feel like I finally have it even today for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am the same way where I'm like, I think things have to be in extremes. I either have to be really happy and everything's amazing, or like doom and gloom, nothing works out for like it's like I keep striving for neutrality and I don't know how to just, I was telling my therapist last week, I'm like, everything's seemingly going really well. So I have the most anxiety I've had in years. In
Yeah,
years. Like I am like waking up at 4 in the morning, like, oh, what if this happens? And what if like I am so uncomfortable in a neutral zone of everything's just being, because I've lived in these chaotic mindsets my whole, like, it's either things are really amazing and everything's working out for me, or like nothing's working out for me. So to be like, things exactly the way I want them? No. Are things really amazing? Yeah. Like just accepting that is so hard.
yeah. Like what is because so in your sense of neutrality and like balance, would you say that like making sure that area rug is the way it should be, where it's lined up, however that feels in your body to make that perfect feeling, is another form of needing that extreme in your life, and it's all just being projected into this area rug in a way? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. My therapist all the time is like, it's never about the rug. It's never about the guy you went on a date with. It's never about X. It's about everything you're feeling has a symbol finally, and it has something
Mm.
you could identify. Like it's it's definitely, I'm like, ugh, it's like that meme. It's like, I'm so self-aware, it's killing me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, make it stop. So when you got this diagnosis, and for people who also have bipolar disorder or they're discovering that they have this, what was like, what were the things that really helped you, like whether it be like a ritual that you started or therapy or, you know doing certain activities that would help you get back to your center and like who you are?
Yeah. Um, so I'm on like a very low dose of Prozac, and I love it. It helps. It's just a little hum
Mm,
underneath the sound of the world that helps me stay grounded. I used to be on medicine for bipolar stuff, but I stopped taking it for a couple reasons. And instead, what I have found is I don't drink anymore. I do a shitload of exercise. I write and I journal and I read books. I try and like balance my work and my life. And the more balanced I am, the happier I am, the less pills I'm on, the more water I'm drinking, the more vegetables I'm eating. And I can really track all of my high highs and low lows to no balance at all. You know, being on the road touring and just eating nothing but McDonald's, laying in
Mm,
a dark hotel room with the windows drawn and sleeping until the show that night. And then you do the show and then you drink whiskey all night.
yeah.
And lo and behold, that's going to lead to depression. Like, can you
Right.
imagine how
Right.
nothing but fast food, sleep, and booze is going to make you sad? Like, come on now. Or the other side of it would be if I'm, you know, awake for 3 days and chain smoking Marlboro ultralights and walking in circles listening to Mars Volta on repeat. Like, you
Mhm.
know, that's also a moment where I'm like, okay, I am so out of whack, so out of balance. My chemicals are off. And I know I can always go back to taking pills. I would just rather not if I can help it. But Prozac really helps, and therapy really helps. Journaling really helps, and I always know I have that back pocket to take medicine. I'm just actively trying to not take it if I can help
Yeah.
it. You know, I'm searching for how my own equilibrium equals out. And there have been times out, but I guess like the asterisk to that would be like I was doing Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland with my friend Julian. Will mention him because he's the one who has OCD and we've been through a lot
Mm,
together. His name's Julian Stern. He's a great comic. I stopped taking my Prozac. We're drinking every night. And I lost my fucking mind. I started lying to everybody. I started pretending to go home and I would just walk the streets until the sun comes up. Everyone's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm perfect. What's wrong with you?" I was a fucking asshole who was
mm,
like going through a thing. And I kind of did it to myself because I was feeling so free that I
mhm.
forgot everything that got me there. And I just threw it all away and I went right back to who I used to be. And it was brutal and it was ugly. And I kind of self-destructed in some pretty bad ways that I'm not proud of. And so, you know, memories of things like that help me stay on track now because as fun as it felt, it wasn't fun at all, you know?
Right. Right. How are some of the ways you find compassion for yourself?
Ooh, how do you do that? Maybe I'll throw it back to you. Tell me. You
Son
fucking
of
tell
a
me. I don't
bitch.
know.
You know,
I don't
I
know.
I actually my best friend made me this journal for my birthday and it has a picture of baby Brittany in it and it's like letters to her basically. Like it's just
Mm,
one of my baby pictures and it's like writing letters to my younger self. And like whenever I feel like I'm doing something or like this behavior is coming up or this thought loop is coming up, I think back of like, what does this remind me of? And like, oh, like Brittany, like you are not alone right now. Like, do not, like, I just kind of talk to me in like my higher self, as woo as that sounds. And just remembering, like, I'm very hard on myself, very hard on myself. And it's something that I try to work on every single day. But I also just think like, there was this book that I read. It was like, You're a Badass Every Day during COVID. And it was like, what would your idol think of you in this moment? And I'm like, would Jennifer Aniston be proud of me right now? I don't think so. So it's like, it's little stuff like that, but just really being like, you're okay. And it's a lot of talking to yourself and like kind of letting yourself off the hook for not knowing better. And like, we can only do what we know now, like we can't go back in time and you can just be like, well, yeah, like that person that was making those decisions didn't know what they were going through. And now, like, how can I make future me happy? How can I make present me happy? And how can I help somebody else in the future by sharing what I've gone through?
oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, same answer.
Ditto.
Ditto. Next question. Agreed.
That is really funny. So, So you had said earlier, like, you don't know if it was stand up. So how did you get into stand up?
Man, I wish I was like being funnier on your podcast.
Oh my gosh, no,
But
you are. I've been laughing. I also have a pulled muscle in my chest, and it was feeling better, but because I've been laughing so hard, I'm like every time. So I'm like, no, you're
good.
killing it. You're killing it.
Oh, yeah. As long as I'm hurting someone,
Mm-hmm.
great. Yeah,
Exactly.
fantastic. Come on. So yeah, like I guess like the if you want to hear some like weird stuff that I'm actually working on stage right now.
Hell yeah.
So like uh so I was a hockey goalie since like I don't know. I don't even know, 6 or 8 years old. I'm not good with dates and time, but I was a hockey goalie from a very young age, right? So I'm like in the net. I'm the last line of defense. I'm kind of on the team, but I'm not really on the team because I'm my own island back there.
Hmm.
Cut to today, and I'm on stage, and it's kind of me, and I'm on the team with the crowd, but I'm not really on the team. I'm kind of doing my own thing, and my protection is my comedy, and my protection is my jokes, and my protection is like external things. Even though they're coming from a real vulnerable place, it's still I'm still wearing goalie gear.
Hmm.
So it's like my whole life has just been me on an island, kind of on a team, but kind of wanting to do my own thing, wearing as much protective gear as I can, and kind of keeping it all on my shoulders to win. And that's kind of where I'm most comfortable. And so stand up was kind of inevitable as far as I'm concerned, because all I did was like move from the goal to the stage, and I'm still exactly who I was at 8 years old.
I love that. That's really, I mean, that's a great analogy. And do you also have a gold medal from, is it from hockey or no?
Yeah, it's from hockey.
It's
I kind of like it's I was number one roller hockey goalie in the country. Uh, I like to win. I'm very competitive. And lo and behold, I don't know if you know this, but roller hockey doesn't have much of a future. There's not much money to be made. So I moved into the lucrative, safe, promising world of stand-up comedy where everybody succeeds and becomes millionaires.
crushing it.
Yeah.
Really making our parents proud, I'm sure.
Oh, they've never been worried once. They were like, "Oh, good. Get into something guaranteed, please."
Honestly,
Like
I've been
like
out here for 12, almost 13 years now, and my family's still asking me when I'm going to get a real job.
that's a wild insult. That's a wild thing to say. What does
Yeah.
that even mean anymore?
I
I
know,
have a friend
honestly.
who, yeah, he sits in his car and rates chicken tenders and makes fucking five figures a year sitting in his car eating food. Like what is a real job? What are we talking about?
As someone who's the world's pickiest eater, and I consider myself a chicken finger connoisseur, I should be doing this job. Like, how do I sign up?
You by sitting in your car and snacking. Like
That's
there's
all I
nothing more
do.
needed.
That's literally all I do. Because again, I can't eat when I'm not doing something. Like, if I
Hmm.
go through a drive-through, I have to park my car, turn on a podcast, and eat it right there. Like, I'm not, by the time I get home, I've talked myself out of eating it.
Yeah, sure.
That is wild. So
Set up that iPhone.
I
Talk to me
know.
while
I
you're
know.
eating the chicken tender. Let me know how the crisp is. Let me know how the juice is. Let me know, what dips you got. I'm
Honestly,
invested.
like, don't be surprised, people, if you see a new video coming out of me picking apart my food. Like, it's literally people. I went out the other night to uh, dinner, and my friend's boyfriend looked at my plate, and I got a turkey club, and he was like, "It looks like a fucking tornado hit your plate. Like, what is wrong with all those pieces?" And I'm like, "Just don't ask, okay? Like, you can't ask.
Hmm.
You just have to accept it. That's just who I am."
Yeah. Hey, dude. Sorry, I'm building perfect bites, bite after bite. Maybe I just
Exactly.
wanted a little lettuce and bacon. Then I wanted a little bit of this turkey and mayonnaise. Why don't you
Uh-huh.
mind your fucking business? Yeah.
When it comes to, I could imagine as somebody who, you said you like to have a little like control. When you are doing stand up and say a joke doesn't land, what
Hmm.
I would just leave. Like, if people didn't laugh,
Oh, really?
I'd be like, I have to go. Like, I would, like, if somebody didn't laugh at my joke, I'd be like, I am sweating and I'm so embarrassed right now. Like, and also fuck all of you. How
Yeah,
do you
but like
recover from that?
because it's just like hockey. Like if I let in a goal, I've still got to save the next shot.
Mm,
Like it doesn't stop, you know?
yeah.
Like yes, I let in that goal. Okay, now what? Now we're losing by one. All right, well, let's tie the game. Let me stop all the other shots. It's truly like the easiest mental, like part of the mental game of stand up for me is like, oh, that joke didn't work. Okay, well, I let in a goal. What's the next one? And there's
Hmm.
so many ways to like continue to have a great show, have a great set. And if you don't try new things, like I'm trying a joke about my dreams right now, and it's at like a 65% hit rate, which means it should not be in the show. But I also want to crack it. I want to figure it out and get it up to 99%.
Can I
So
hear it?
you got to keep chipping away at it. Do you really want to hear it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ooh, okay. But if you don't laugh, it's going to drop down to 63%.
That's a lot of pressure. Okay, let's do it. No, I'm in.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll try and do it. Um, so in my dream journals with Peter Tuesdays at noon, I wrote down one in March that we talked about, and in that dream, I'm marching. I'm not going to do the bit. I'm just going to explain. I can't
Yeah.
perform right now. In my dream, I'm marching in down the streets, and it's a blue sky, which Peter told me is like opportunity, you know, an infinite amount of potential because I just put out my album. I'm working on all this new material. I have a Netflix show coming. Like blue skies, right? That's what my subconscious is showing me is blue skies. And all of these people are waving at me and I'm waving at them, which is adulation. And I'm feeling really good about my place in stand up and how my fan base is growing. And next to me is Obama in my dream. And behind him is Dave Chappelle. And next to him is Chris Rock and Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm walking with all of them down the street and we're all waving. And I'm like, I feel like I belong. I feel like I'm next to Obama, but we're not, I'm not like, oh, dude, I loved you as a president. No, we're just like two humans marching and walking, being there as if we belong there together. And Peter's like, well, that, you know, that shows that you feel like you've leveled up in your stand up, you've leveled up in your career. Like things are happening where you're reaching your goals. And that's a really good thing. And then he said that obviously that's not really Obama in my dream. That's not really Chris Rock. That's not really Martin Luther King. Like those are all in my mind. It's not like Obama showed up in my dream. It's my subconscious. So I am Obama and I am Chris Rock and I am Martin Luther King, which also means I'm doing like dream blackface. And that is not okay at all. Like that's a problem. That's not a good thing. So we should talk about that, right, Peter? Because I have a dream and it's bad. Like it's not a good dream, right? So that's the essence of it. And I don't know what to do with it, but it is true. And if you've dreamt about anything other than yourself, you're racist. And so you should kind of figure that out for yourself.
That's really funny. I'm like, well, maybe you just really want to be a strong black man.
I, yes, of course. Are you kidding me? Like, come on now. All my athletic heroes, my political heroes, my favorite authors, everybody. And then also, if you've ever had a wet dream, like dreaming about Jason Momoa or fucking Kristen Wiig or whoever you're into, that's also just you. So you've gotten yourself off in your own dreams.
That's
And
really
what
funny.
what does that mean? You know, like you made yourself orgasm. So
Oh my gosh. I was going to ask you, who's like your North Star? Like, who was someone's career? I mean, was it one of those
wait, hold
beautiful
on, hold
black
on.
men?
See, that's why it's only 65%. It's meandering and it doesn't make sense. And I don't know what my point is. I don't have an opinion yet. They're just facts. And that's why it's not a good joke. Everyone's like, okay, dude. And that's like why it doesn't work on stage yet, because I don't have a point of view. It's just notions. So yeah, that's why it's a 65% joke. And
But it
it
didn't
gets a laugh
drop.
because
I'll
of
say it didn't drop to 63.
it didn't drop.
It's still a strong 65. I think
Right.
it's got something there and it's a conversation starter if anything cuz now I can see it
100%.
all. It's very visually like I'm like I see it. I see the street. I see the march happening.
Hmm.
I see a bunch of beautiful black men walking down the street, and you like it's great.
It's great. It's just what am I saying and why am I saying it and what's my point? Because dream blackface is funny and relatable because we've all had dreams with other figures in them. But yeah, it's not a stand-up bit yet. It's just like, huh, okay. So 65%. Yeah, I need it. I need it to get higher, or it's never going to see the light of day after this podcast. You know?
That's, I mean, well, I'm happy you did it for me. I'm happy that you trusted to to share that
Yeah.
with me.
Thank you. I mean, but that's also like what I want my stand-up to be now. Like, I think in my special, it's a lot of like external comedy. Like, it's a lot of jokes about like dogs, or it's a lot of jokes about like I saw a man with an outie belly button, and
Oh
honestly, it
my
was
God.
disgusting. Like,
I wrote
he should
that
fix that
down.
shit.
I wrote that down because it was so I've had two surgeries and they go in through the belly button when they do it. So my belly button, I just feel like it's very sensitive. So the whole time you're talking about the outie
Mm.
belly button, I was like, oh my God, I hate this so much. Like it's like making me feel so weird.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, so
Sorry
gross.
for everybody
So
who has
gross.
an outie, but yeah.
Mm.
And like when you're
Such
talking about
gross.
like how like if you're like two people having sex and one has an outie, one has an innie, it's like they go into each other. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
You're not gross?
That's so
It's not
weird.
okay. It's
Thankfully,
not
I've
okay.
never experienced it.
Don't do it. It should be there's no bigger red flag than an outie belly button. You can't have sex with that person. It's not going to line up right.
Oh my gosh.
So, but like all of that is true stories and real, and it's external. So for my new material, I'm just trying to dig deeper and like
Mhm.
learn more about myself and have it be more like internal kind of stuff. So even if that dream joke doesn't go anywhere and it's like, I mean, whatever, at least I'm trying things that are like from a deep, real place in
Mhm.
me. And I can talk about all kinds of things like that and mind my own existence a bit more. And I'm getting a lot more out of it. And like a dude the other night came up to me and he just shook my hand. He was like, dude, that was the most hilarious, sincere comedy I've seen in a long time. And I was like, right on. Most dudes want to just buy me shots and turn their hat backwards because they can't deal with their feelings. So they're like,
Mm.
do you want to drink about how I feel right now? And I'm like, not really, dude. But that guy got it. And he shook my hand. And he was like, sincerity, comedy, thank you. And I was like, all right, I'm hitting a new demographic and I'm hitting new levels with human beings where they're feeling something. And that's memorable. We're walking out of there feeling connected. And that's what I'm striving for.
Yeah, and even like one just sharing what you're going through, there doesn't have to be a punchline. It could just be like it's a funny experience and we're laughing because we've been through it too and we've felt those feelings too. And I loved the way like when you how you ended life rules was not with this big punchline. It was you being very vulnerable and it was such a beautiful moment. And that was like the moment I was like, wait, I want more. Like I don't want this to be over. Cause
Yeah.
we're all just craving that so badly, especially because we think we're the only ones with these really fucked up thoughts, or we think we're the only ones who are going through these major like mental disorders, life changes, whatever it may be. So when you see somebody up there literally being so vulnerable and brave, it inspires you to do the same. And you also laugh because you're like, wow, we're all fucked up there. Like, and
Right.
we're all just here existing. And like, it makes the problem, not problem, but it makes it all seem not as big.
Yeah. 100%. That joke specifically, my last joke is the last joke I wrote from like that was my turning point joke that made me decide I had to record that special because I was like, oh, this joke it kind of fits the rest of this stuff, but this feels like a turning point in my own comedy. So I'll end with that, and that's kind of the beginning of what I'm doing now. Is that joke like that's such a linchpin to everything? So thank you for saying that because
Mhm.
that to me felt like, oh, I've reached a new level of exploration and comedy with this one. So I want to end with that and start the new chapter from there because it feels so much deeper and real. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Like I really love what you're doing and It's different and it's honest. And I think honest and like authentic is what people just strive to find and connect with in 2024, like in this day and age. Like it's so hard to come by. And it also feels like so many people are just doing things for to go viral or to be successful and fame and, you know, the numbers of it all instead of just like actually enjoying the work of it all and just being, which is
Hmm.
it's hard to do, but when you do it, that's the most rewarding, like you said, like that guy coming up to you. And so I really like it. And I really hope that I can come see you when you're here in LA. I would love to.
Nope, it's sold out. Sorry. Nope.
All right, I guess I'll just
Nope.
sit in my car and eat my
Sorry.
chicken tenders.
I come out I come out of the comedy store and I'm like, Brittany? And you're like, oh hey, yeah, I just was making a
I'm
video
just like,
real quick.
hey, how'd your 65% joke go tonight, buddy? Eating my chicken fingers.
Yeah. Have you wait, real quick, because it that felt like you wanting to wrap it up.
No, I'm
Are
here. I
you
mean, we can still I have questions still, so it's all about you.
have you had Dave's hot chicken before?
I feel like I have and it was a little too messy for me.
Agreed. Okay. Do you have like I get a lot of frozen chicken tenders. Like
Couldn't do it.
I love like a couldn't do it. Oh, tell me your perfect chicken tender, please.
Honestly, my mother's. She but
Whoa.
because
Fascinating.
she'll make them for me and the chicken has to be she trims like I don't want to see a vein. I don't want to see any of that
Hmm.
white stuff in there. I don't know what that is. It's she pounds it down so thin like flat as a pancake and cuts out literally everything possible and then like uses panko breadcrumbs and I still pick those apart. But they are the best chicken fingers ever. I like it's got to be thin, dry chicken, and it is embarrassing. But I'm like, if when it's like, or like the kind that just like pulls apart very easily, those are always great.
Hmm.
But like a thick slab of chicken, oh my God, I couldn't do it.
I think what I love about this is nobody's doing picky eater food reviews. Everyone is just
Mm.
doing food reviews that are like, oh, it's juicy and it's plump and the crisp is double fried and da da da. And you're like, no, no, no. I need to be able to pick this apart,
Mhm.
leave chaos down below, and that is my scoring system. Nobody is doing picky eater allyship, and it's time for that type of food review to exist.
I think you're onto something. I think this is a great idea. Because then it will
It's
literally,
crazy.
I'll literally, my friends will be like, oh my God, you ate that whole thing. I'm so proud of you. Like, look at your plate. Like, people's plates are like wiped clean. When I see somebody take a bite out of something and not look, I'm like, God, I'm so jealous. Like taking a bite out of a sandwich and not looking inside of it and inspecting it afterwards. I'm like, what's that like? It's so hot.
Wait, can I gross you? This might gross you out, but can I show it to you?
Yes,
We're
please.
we're in Minneapolis, which is the home of the Juicy Lucy. Do you know what that is?
Is it like a big bird type of chicken thing?
Okay, it's two hamburger patties smashed thin with cheese in between, and then the cheese melts. So when you take a bite, the cheese oozes out of the hamburger patties. And I was going to show you a picture of it, but it might make you puke.
No, I can see it.
Okay. Do you want to see a video or do you want to see a picture?
Whichever. I'm very
Okay.
interested now. Oh God, no. Oh, no, no, no.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
just looks like a stomach ache.
It does. But you take a bite and all the cheese like oozes down your hand, down your wrist, onto the thing, and it's pretty viscous and it's pretty gnarly, but it is delicious. I don't know that you would enjoy being on the same block as a Juicy Lucy.
It's so interesting because I'm like, I would love like it would be my life would be so easy if I liked food. Like, but I
Yeah.
truly am like, I wish I was like a dog. Like, give me my morning and afternoon kibble that's the same thing every day. I know I'm getting all the nutrients that I need, and let's call it. Like, I don't need to eat to enjoy it. I'm fine.
Yeah. Oh man, then give me all your leftovers always, because I'll eat them the next day, even if they're sitting out in the living room temp. Like, give it to me.
Literally, my best friend will come over and she's like, I never have to order food when I come here because I'll order food, pick it apart, and then she gets the majority of it. Like she is so well fed from hanging out from with me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got the cranberry Waldorf salad, and there's all of it left but the cranberries. I guess I just wanted cranberries.
That's so fun. You're like, just go buy a pouch of cranberries.
Go buy a bunch of cranberries. What are you doing? Yeah, exactly.
So growing up, like for me, my show is Friends. If I don't watch Friends, I will go insane. Like there's something about them just being there where I feel like, okay, I'm not alone. If I fall asleep, I have to have Friends on because it stops my ruminating thoughts. Like I know it so well that I could close my eyes and I could see it happening and I'm not thinking of everything on a loop. I'm just listening to Friends. So, is there a show like that for you that helps you connect back to yourself or kind of mellow you out?
Yeah. Man, this is such a food heavy pod with you, but it's Top Chef. I can watch Top Chef from season 1 to season, I think we're in 22 right now in Wisconsin. It's just got it all. It's got high level skills, high stress competition, complete control. It's on you, it's on your shoulders to win. How creative can you be? How imaginative can you be? And then everyone has a backstory that is unique and singular to them. I want to be a panelist. I want to be a critic. I want to be a judge on Top Chef so bad. I will know I made it in my industry if it says Mike Glazer, comedian, and they put some kind of like veal scallopini in front of me with a broth drizzled at the very end on the table in front of me, and I get to taste it and say, could have used a touch more salt. And Tom Colicchio nods his head and goes, I agree. Like I will be on cloud nine. I will retire after that because that means I made it in this industry. Top Chef is the best show I've ever seen, and I love it.
That's amazing. Wait, I watched Chopped, not Top Chef. Did I watch the wrong show?
No, I love both. Chopped is
Okay.
great because there's 400 seasons of it, and each of those seasons has 30 episodes. You could try and watch every single episode of Chopped before you die, and you'll never make it to the end. Like it's just an endless amount of people trying to pay off their college debts by mixing licorice with roast beef. Like it's
It's
insane.
it's
It's
so funny
so
because when I
crazy.
watch those cooking shows, I am like I'll watch the British Bake Off sometimes if there's really nothing
Sure.
else on. And I'm like, what a fucking idiot. How could they do that? Meanwhile, like I just burnt half of my dinner. Like it's like who am I to judge anybody on here? I'm like, oh, she's
Yeah.
never gonna get this done in time. And then I'm like, oh, what's burning? I'm like, oh, I forgot. Like
Yeah, Chopped is a great show because it's like it just comes down to fundamentals. And I think fundamentals are so important to life or anything you do. Like you have to have solid fundamentals and a foundation. And so a show like Chopped or Top Chef, I mean, the difference between Chopped and Top Chef is just the best chefs in the
mhm.
world, and Chopped is chefs. And they can be chefs of all walks of life, home cooks, private chefs, chefs who own their own restaurant in Tampa, Florida, whatever. And then Top Chef is like James Beard Nom. So it's all the same to me. It's just solid fundamentals, high levels of competition, and you have complete control, which
Mm,
goddamn, it sounds like we both really enjoy control.
I
So
know. What is
I'm
that?
all
And
about it.
I'm really trying to learn how to let go. Like it feels impossible though. Like we have control over really nothing in life except ourselves, hopefully. But
Hopefully.
learning to let go is so hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew more. I'm just not that smart. I'm a pretty dumb. I'm like such a dude. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking about it the other
Well,
day. I was like,
no, because you go to
what?
therapy. Most such dudes don't go to therapy.
Oh, really? I feel like that's the new trend is like dudes are like, I don't know if you've heard of this thing, but it's called therapy and I just want the world to know about it. I'm tired of being a gatekeeper for wellness. Like I feel like that's like the new dude trick is being all about it
I will say it's
and
such a
monetizing it.
turnoff
How can
when
I
you're like
monetize?
Yeah, when you're on like a dating app and their first thing is like, and yes, I'm in therapy, like, oh God. Well, it's
Mhm.
not working very much. Like I'm
Yeah.
swipe.
Yeah. My goal is to use my hustle mindset and the tools I've used in cognitive therapy to grow my business 10x.
Yeah.
Like, dude, okay. All right, man.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
That's what it is. I was trying to think the other day of like what would people want to hear about on a dating app for like your little like things, right? That are
Mhm.
about you. And I don't know because you don't want to say travel because it's like, oh, word? Oh my gosh, are we soulmates? You like to travel? That's unheard of. I can't believe travel. Unless you have travel in yours, Brittany, in which case,
No,
sorry. But
let
also,
me
like,
let
come
me
on.
tell you, the second somebody says I like to travel and I like the outdoors, blocked.
It blocked, right? Oh shit, you like sunshine? Say more. I can't believe it.
But also, I hate it. Like, I hate the
Yeah.
outdoors. I hate traveling. Like, I don't understand. Like, I know going off food, I'm like, why do I want to get on a plane just to go eat dinner somewhere else and pick apart food somewhere
Yeah.
else? Like, I could do that at home. I am not that. It's like, must love. Blah, blah. Okay, well, bye.
Okay, so on your dating app, like what would be ideal for a dude, or I don't even know what you're into, whoever you're into, to have as like their thing.
Honestly, if it was like, do you want to eat chicken tenders and watch Friends? I'm like, yes, love of my life. Love of my life.
That's that's also like what a cat might be into.
I know. Oh my God.
Just curled up in your lap and you can feed them little pieces of white meat chicken
Yeah.
and watch Friends yourself.
Oh, it's not a wonder I'm alone. That is
Oh
really
man.
funny. That is so funny. I forgot what the question even was before this.
Oh, who cares?
Who
You know,
cares? Who gives a
whatever.
shit? Who
Yeah,
gives a
like
shit?
I truly like I've never been on a dating app, but I hear that they're pretty brutal and it's like it's not all it's cracked up to be. You know what
No,
I mean? Like
no,
yeah, right?
it's not. And
Yeah.
well, I also don't drink. So it's like I find like a lot of people don't want to, it makes them more nervous because they think I'm judging them the whole time. And I'm like, no, I literally don't care. I just know that I'm already crazy. So I don't need to drink to get there. Like,
Yeah,
so, and like, I've never had
right?
a problem just like being myself. So, it, a lot of people need that like liquid courage or that act of or ritual of drinking to feel more at ease, which that's fine. I'm not judging you for doing that. But like, I will be fine. But so I think it's like a lot of people don't. It's hard to be like, yeah, let's go out and do something because people. It's not because I can't sit there and be around somebody who's drinking. The other person doesn't want to be around somebody who's not drinking. So it's interesting,
Yeah.
especially as you get older. You're just kind of like, and I've had friends like admit to me like, well, I stopped asking you to go out because like we like to drink a lot and you don't. And I'm like, but that doesn't have anything to do with like I can still go out somewhere. Like I don't have to be locked away because I can't be around
Right?
alcohol, you know?
Yeah. And also like we're doing so much cocaine when we're out. So it's just like what's the difference, right? Like one of us is just doing lines in the bathroom at One Oak and the other one is drinking dirty martinis. We're still doing the thing.
It's so funny because I'll do a lot of mocktails, and then like if I say something, and people are like, "Oh my God, Brittany," I'm like, "Oh, I'm so drunk right now." Like it's my favorite thing to do, and they're like, "Wait, are you?" I'm like, "No, what is wrong with you?"
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's really funny. Yeah, the no drinking thing has been really interesting because I stopped drinking sometime between Christmas and New Year's of 2023.
Mm,
And then I started going to Al-Anon, which is a neighbor of AA. It's for people who
hmm.
have had alcoholics in their life. And that has changed my life. I would argue that even more so than, no, that's not fair to Peter. Those two things together, that's my fucking jam. A little bit of Prozac, a little bit of therapy, and a little bit of Al-Anon. Yo, that's my mocktail right there. God damn.
Yeah.
Pop that in my veins. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my heroin. I love it. I love it. It's
I
great.
was, yeah, I was in Al-Anon for a little bit, and one of my favorite things my sponsor at the time had said to me was put down the magnifying glass and pick up the mirror. And that is just, I think about that all the time. So good.
Yo, wait. Okay, let's go through some gems. I got a couple gems in my notes.
Yes.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Hold on. This is a lot of fun. I'm so glad we met. Shout out Heather.
Yes.
Okay. It's obsession is a war against powerlessness,
Mm. Feel attacked.
right?
Right in the chest.
Yeah. We both just start puking. Yeah, we're just like vomiting at the end of this, like Exorcist style, for sure. For
Bring
sure.
it back to The Exorcist. Here we go. So now it's definitely time to listen to Taylor Swift. See ya.
Man, I remember even before I saw Era's movie, which was, I think that's my Oscar nom for every year at this
Mm.
point in my life. But I was going through like a real low depressive point. And I remember when she was at SoFi Stadium, I think for like 7 days in a row,
Hmm.
just selling out 3 shows a night, just an absolute the best superstar we have or have ever had in this country. And
Hmm.
I'm laying on my side on my couch. I have a real sweet tooth, so my favorite sad thing to do is order a bunch of like cheesecakes and try them all and then eat them all and then lay on my side feeling bad about it. That's my jam. Some of them even have jam on them. And so I'm laying on my side and I'm watching a TikTok live stream of somebody at SoFi Stadium
That's
watching
that's
Taylor
all I did for
Swift.
6 nights in a row, let me tell you. Shaky ass live stream.
Yeah, from like, the section 300
Yeah.
blurry, but you can still get a glimpse of what the
Yeah.
hell's going on.
Waiting for the surprise songs. Like, what's it gonna be tonight?
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Oh my God, it's that 19 whatever song again. Or 18,
Oh,
whatever it is. Yeah.
15. Good
Fucking
job.
yep. Thank you. I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm educating myself.
Oh my
Yes,
God. That's
exactly.
amazing.
So
I
yeah,
know. That's literally my.
even the split screen of this Zoom, hell yeah. Like you could split screen us at that time, laying on our sides, watching
Mhm.
videos of live streams on TikTok. It's fucking
Absolutely.
beautiful.
And I'm fucking 33 years old. I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Not going to the thing,
Yeah,
for sure.
literally. I mean, honestly, Taylor Swift just makes everything better. And I can't wait. Next week, she's a new album coming out, and I'm so goddamn excited. I know this week. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, look at that.
exactly. What else? What else? I'm having fun. What do we got? What do we need?
Well, I always ask people like, what character do they channel in their hard times? Like, was there a character on TV that you just saw was so powerful and had so much strength, and you were like, how do I tap into that?
Mm, damn, that's such a good question because I don't have a stock answer for it, and I'm kind of mad about that. Um,
It's a thinker.
yeah, you know who my I have like a couple of heroes
Hmm.
in a couple of different areas, like for cooking and for sports and for comedy. I have people that I'm like, that's my North Star, but none of them are completely good people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're all their own complicated, tricky enigma who, if I were like, oh, they're great, somebody else would be like, yeah, except for this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, but we're all doing our best. So it's really tricky. Like my favorite comedian, he just came out with a new special on Netflix, is a guy named Neil Brennan. He co-created the Chappelle Show with Dave Chappelle. He co-wrote Half Baked. They were friends forever, and then Neil felt like he was in Dave's shadow and had to break off. They both, I don't know, I don't want to tell their stories, but now Neil is like one of the best stand-up comedians. All of his specials are deep. They're all about mental health. They're all about recovery. They're all about things that are unique to him. And he's just my favorite comic of all time. At the same time, he's always been incredibly kind to me. He brought Jerry Seinfeld to one of my shows to perform. Like
Oh wow.
he's always been incredibly kind to me, but we're not friends. We don't know each other. I don't
Hmm.
have his phone number. You know what I mean? Like he's a North Star who I've also am kind of I've always wanted to be his friend, and I think he knows that. He can probably feel that kind of thirst on me, but we don't have that kind of relationship, and that's fine. I get to look to him as what I'm trying to achieve,
Mm,
and that's enough. I don't
yeah.
need more than that as much as I want more than that, but I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's my best answer is like somebody like a Neil Brennan who has always been very gracious, has always been very thoughtful, has always had my back in a lot of ways, but I don't even have his phone number, you know? So,
Yeah, I get
yeah.
it. I get it. I mean, isn't that funny though? Because I look at things and I'm like, wait, like even sometimes on this podcast, I'm like, hold on, we had such a good conversation. Why are we not hanging out all the time? This is like,
Hmm.
what? You don't want to be my actual friend in real life. You just want to do this interview. And I'm like, well, Brittany, that's the concept of the fucking interview. It's the show. Like, you're not supposed to be their best friend afterwards. But I'm like, well, why not though? Like, why not?
Right. Right. How many? I mean, I have 4 friends. I'm pretty full. Like, that's a lot of friends.
I don't know. My pinned texts are all packed up. I can't add another one in there. So
Couldn't possibly. I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. I think like, do you feel like now that you're getting a handle on your own deal and who you are, you're able to make friends and be a good friend, or have you always been able to like have a bunch of friends in your life because you're good at giving and kind of you've lived a life that people are like, oh, I can be around her.
I think I pride myself the most in my friendships because I have a really amazing group of friends and we've been friends for a decade now. And like I just had surgery on my foot in November, and the amount of people who showed up for me, it was like they'll show up for my birthday party and party all night long, but then they'll also like meet me at the bottom of my stairs to carry me up the stairs because I can't walk.
Come on.
So
Wow.
I definitely feel like I have gotten so lucky with my group of friends, and they they are like, which again is why I love the TV show Friends, because the way that Marta Kaufman, the creator, explains it is like it's about the time in your life where your friends are the family you choose. And that's truly like that has been the past 10 years of my life with these people.
Mm, that's so cool. That's so cool. Wow.
Well, you had said
I
too,
want
you
to be
have a
I want to
great,
be friends with you.
let's be friends. We are. We already are.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that would be
Cool. I'm
Yeah,
stoked.
I'll eat your scraps. Sign me up.
Amazing. Amazing. But your girlfriend might be like, who's this fake ass Italian? Why'd you invite her over here?
She is Italian. She's a New Jersey Italian.
What's her
So
last
you,
name?
we just Tozzi, Tozzi.
Rizzo and
We here's how
Tazi.
Italian she is. There you go.
Literally,
Uh,
it sounds like a Rizzo, Tazi, and Glazer. Like it sounds
well,
like a sitcom. Two guys,
I
a girl, in a pizza place.
yeah, 2 Italians, a Jew, and some anxiety.
Yeah.
Sure. I hear
That's
she's
funny.
so like wonderfully she's so wonderfully who she is.
Mhm.
When Life Rules hit 10,000 views on my YouTube, which I never expected, I was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo that says Life Rules, and she wanted to go with me, and so I got
Nice.
my own signature of Life Rules here, and she got a duck from The Sopranos, and so like that's how Italian, New Jersey Italian she is. She got a
That's
duck
so
from the
funny.
pool. Yeah, she's
That is
great.
amazing.
Shout out Tina. And
So
she's in development too. So our 2 Italians, a Jew, and some anxiety, it could have legs if she can get it in front of the right network. We might be able to make
honestly,
it.
I feel like it could absolutely go somewhere. There's no way. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm interested already. It's great.
Well, it's your idea, so that's a good thing.
Big fan of myself here. Oh my gosh. Well, Mike, we do have to wrap up, but I want to ask you. Well, I'll ask you this and then I'll have you tell everybody where they could find you on tour and all of that good stuff. But what is the best piece of advice you have either gotten for your mental health or that you would give to others for their mental health?
Mm, okay. Man, you know what? I'm it's kind of new to me, but I really believe in it, and I'm saying it to myself all the time. But that fucking serenity prayer is the jam. Do you know it
Yes, and
from
I
your
hadn't said
time?
it in so long, and I said it last night for the first time in like years. Wild.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, I'm still not off book on it, but it's something like something about help me accept the things I cannot change, something about changing the things I can,
And the
and having the
wisdom
wisdom to know
to
the
know the
difference.
difference. Yeah.
And it's like, yo, what words to live by. Like,
Mhm.
oops, I can't do anything about that. Moving on. Ooh, I can do this though. This like the gray area inside of like knowing what you can change, not worrying about what you can't, and knowing the difference is like that's like a real key to life. And
Mhm.
I'm so happy to have said that in my head daily too,
Mhm.
and just realize through the highs and lows, like, how to maneuver through that stuff and not get caught up and, hooked by the things that I can't do anything about. Like,
Mhm.
it's cool. It's a fucking beautiful serenity prayer, man. Yeah, shout out to that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a great one. I mean, it's literally what we've been talking about this whole time is just like letting go and like the control of it all. It's so
Hmm.
oof. And tell people where they can find tickets to your tour and what they can expect from you next.
Okay. Uh, Leave a 5-star review on this podcast. Click 5 stars, leave a review, bump it in the algorithm. You can come see me on tour, I think through April 24th, like Oregon, Washington, Vancouver, Sacramento. We're doing a huge theater on 420 because I love weed. And then come see me at the Comedy Store. It's a show called Glazer's After Party. The next one is April 25th. I just hand out free weed and mushrooms. Or I guess I can't say that, but I already said that. Come to Glazer's After Party. It's April
You're like, I'm just
25th.
drug dealing for the night, so come stop by.
Come through, well, it's not a drug deal because I'm giving it away
Okay.
technically. So,
Yeah.
it's more of like a free sample at Costco situation. And then I'm doing Netflix is a Joke festival, May 11th or something. Netflix presents Mike Glazer. I'm going to be doing a half hour or more of like all my new material, and then I've got a sick lineup with like Jordan Rock, Chris Rock's brother, and all these other dope
Mm.
folks. So that's going to be fun. And then I'm back at the Comedy Store later that month for another after party where I don't hand out free mushrooms and weed. Uh, I don't do that. So don't come to that show. And I guess my Instagram is Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo, and that's my YouTube too for my Life Rules thing. I'm so bad at plugging. My name is Mike Glazer. You can Google it and then come to a show at
I'm
the
Mike
Comedy
Glazer, and
Store or
you're
Netflix.
watching Disney Channel.
Oh, nice. And then do 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 do. Wait, did you get to do that?
No, they fucked up.
Oh,
They missed their chance.
yeah, they did.
That was
Those
my dream.
pieces of shit.
That was literally my dream, and they crushed it. No, I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll happen one day, but I wish they still did stuff like that. But no, that was my lifelong dream, is just to do that. But
Yeah. Damn. Damn.
well, I definitely want to come on April 25th. I think I love going to the Comedy Store. I'm surprised. I'm surprised I haven't seen you do anything up there. Like, but it's very rare I stay up past 9 o'clock. So, but yeah, I definitely want to come on the 25th. It would be so much fun.
Okay, yeah, please do. It's at 8 o'clock, so we'll get you in
Amazing.
bed at a decent hour.
Amazing. Perfect.
Yeah,
This was
great.
so
That's
much
it.
fun. Like truly, I had a blast, and it was I knew going into this you were going to be fun to talk to because I watched all your videos on Instagram, and I'm very excited that we got to do this and that we got to have some good laughs and also get very real. So
Yeah,
I appreciate you taking the time.
thank you. We're friends now, and it feels good. So heck yeah. Shout out to Heather for making this all happen because it's so great to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Of course, yes, Heather's the best. I love her so much.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Have
Joe.
an amazing day. Safe travels. Crush it on the tour. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.